Imagine being woken up at gunpoint, your home burned, your children crying, and soldiers forcing you to march thousands of miles, barefoot, hungry, and sick. That was the reality for tens of thousands of Native Americans in the 1830s. A march so brutal it would be remembered forever as the Trail of Tears. In 1830, President Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act, a law that allowed the US government to take native lands in the southeast and push entire tribes west of the Mississippi River. White settlers wanted fertile, cotton-growing land, and greed outweighed justice. The so-called 5 civilized tribes, the Choctaw, Creek, Chickasaw, Seminole, and Cherokee, had built thriving communities. They had farms, schools, churches, written constitutions, even newspapers. Yet none of this mattered. To the government, their land was more valuable than their lives. The Cherokee fought back. In 1832, the Supreme Court ruled in Worcester v. Georgia that the Cherokee Nation was sovereign and could not be forced off their lands. But Jackson ignored the ruling, reportedly mocking the decision, saying, "John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it." With that, the fate of thousands was sealed. The removals began with the Choctaw in 1831. They were forced to march west during the dead of winter, across icy rivers and frozen ground. Many had no shoes, no blankets, no food. Witnesses described wagons filled with the sick and dying, and trails littered with bodies. Next came the Creek in 1836, rounded up in chains and driven from Alabama. The Chickasaw soon followed, stripped of land and dignity, but it was the Cherokee removal of 1838 that became the most infamous. US soldiers stormed Cherokee villages, holding families in overcrowded stockades where disease spread quickly. Then began the march, over 1,000 miles through rain, snow, and mud toward what is now Oklahoma. The old, the sick, and the young collapsed along the way. Disease, dysentery, whooping cough, measles, swept through their camps. Starvation became common. Parents buried children by the roadside, husbands buried wives. Out of 16,000 Cherokee forced to move, about 4,000 died, 1 in every 4 people. Meanwhile, the Seminoles of Florida resisted through armed rebellion, sparking the Seminole Wars, one of the costliest wars the US ever fought against native people. Still, even they were eventually forced onto the march westward. To settlers, these removals